For this project, I was sent some NIC Pro deep pour resin, and I have never done any deep pour molds, shallow molds, but no deep pour molds. So for this, it's actually a 2-to-1 ratio resin, which I have never used either. And in the package, came directions, some plastic covers and gloves and stir sticks and cups, and then 3 bottles of resin. Because it's a 2-to-1 ratio, you have to have 2 bottles of one and one of the other. And if you notice, it is blue tinted, which has been kind of shown that helps to resist the yellowing. They both have an inner cap, which is really nice and easy to pull out. Purchased 2 deep pour molds on Amazon. They were $6.99 for 2. One's a Christmas tree and the other one is a snowman, and they're both 2 parts. And I decided, I also received from NIC Pro some chameleon mica powder, and I decided I'm going to use this one that looks kind of gold. So I go ahead and I mix the resins, and the hardener, because it's a 2-to-1 ratio, the hardener is what you put the least in, the half. It is 2 ounces to 4 ounces of the resin, and you mix it like you would any other resin, scraping the sides, scraping the bottom, doing it slowly to help prevent bubbles. When it's done, there are some micro bubbles, so I do let it sit for about 15 minutes so that the bubbles raise to the top, and some of them will dissipate. Then I take some of the mica powder and I put it into the resin and just mix that up. And then I also take some gold chunky glitter and mix that in with it. And I do pour that down into the deep mold, and it's not enough, so I end up mixing up another 6 ounces. So this is the second 6 ounces, and using part of that to fill the rest of the top of the Christmas, or the bottom of the Christmas tree and the top of the Christmas tree. And then I do have a little bit of that resin left, and I do mix up another 6 ounces of resin. Again, this is a 2-to-1 ratio resin. So for the snowman, what I'm doing is, after I mix all the resin up, I do take some eye candy snowflake mica powder. It's a real pretty sparkly mica powder. I love it. I have bought this over and over again. And I go ahead and I mix that into the resin, and I also put some chunky white glitter. And if I'm not mistaken, I might have put some other glitter, white finer glitter in that too. Yeah, I did. I put a whole bunch of glitter in this. So like I said, this is the first time I've ever done a deep pour. And then I went ahead and I poured that into the bottom of the snowman, and then that's the very top of the snowman. This resin can be demolded after 1 to 2 days, but does take 3 days to fully cure. So I actually ended up doing these a second and a third time, and the biggest problem I had with the Christmas tree was getting the resin to go up into the edges up there. Can you see where there's kind of like air bubbles all around the edges, and I'm trying to open them up with my fingers and push the resin up in there, and as I'm doing it, I'm making a mess. The resin is just dripping all down around the edges, and I end up, I think, mixing a little bit more resin and putting more in there, and it just is so difficult to get it to run uphill. So I actually even try with a spoon to push it up into those little crevices there. I don't know if it's just that they're not open enough or what the story is, but it really was hard to do. And then I just top it off and leave it and hope for the best. And then the top of that Christmas tree was kind of a pain to demold because all that resin had dripped around the edges, and I had to kind of loosen it and pull it up. But other than that, I guess I could have cleaned it off, but I was afraid I was going to disturb the mold. And so it didn't come out too bad. Hey everyone, so this is my first experience with deep pour molds. I've never done it before, and NIC Pro had sent me this NIC Pro deep pour resin, and so I thought I would give it a try, and I purchased these molds on Amazon, and one's a Christmas tree mold and one's a a snowman mold, and they both come with 2 different parts. And honestly, I've never worked with deep pour molds, so this is actually my 3rd attempt at it. And and I think they turned out cute. So it's a little, look at it, it's a little jar like that you put the top on. And I painted the outside with the oil-based metallic marker. And I think there's some more little painting that you can do on the outside. And then this is the little snowman. He's cute too, and he's got a little hat that comes off and you can put something in there. But this was my 3rd attempt. And I'll tell you about my 3rd attempt in a minute, because that was crazy. So the first attempt, so if you want to learn about deep pour, so these were the first. And when you do the molds, it's actually turned upside down like this. And you pour it in and then you demold it. Well, so this would be like this, and I use the chunky glitter. Well, don't use chunky glitter in deep pour molds because it all sinks to the bottom. So you're better off using like a frosted mica powder, a sparkly mica powder. And so the same happened with this. All the chunky glitter went to the bottom, which I guess is really the top. So this one didn't turn out too bad, but this is kind of funny looking. It would have been prettier if it was glitter all over. And so that was my first attempt. So then my second attempt, I had taken them out of the mold. Well, I had left them inside out. I don't know what the heck I did. So they ended up with, first of all, if anybody knows anything about molds, the molds are usually shiny. And if it has a shiny finish, they come out shiny, like these did. And if they have a matte finish, they come out matte. Well, the outside of the molds are matte, and I actually poured the resin with the molds inside out. So that's why these came out with matte finishes, except for the top. I guess that was the right way. I can't believe I did that. So that was my second attempt. No, my second attempt. My first attempt, the glitter was all fell to the one side. The second attempt, they I had the molds inside out. So the third attempt, I almost wasn't going to tell you this, but I'm sure everybody makes mistakes. So the third attempt, so with the deep pour resins, and I'm not sure if all deep pour resins are like this, but this deep pour is a 2-to-1 ratio, and I'm used to using 1-to-1 ratio. Well, that was okay. The first two I did 2-to-1 ratio, and they worked out fine except for the mistakes I made. Well, this one I did 2-to-4, and I started to mix it, and I thought, you know how it turns, like it'll start getting cloudy? It didn't do that, and I thought, oh, crow. I did it just the opposite. I put 2 ounces of what was supposed to be 4 and 4 ounces of what was supposed to be 2. And I mixed up 3 cups of it. So I had a 6 ounce, 6 ounce, and 6 ounce of the opposite ratio. So I had to think fast and dump another 6 ounces in to go with the 4 ounces. Is that what it was? I don't know. But I had to put the right ratio. And I ended up with 12 ounces of each. So I had all this resin. And so I poured these, of course. I got to show you what else I poured. So I had to think fast. And I had all these like coaster holder molds. So I poured this one and this one. I haven't even taken them out of the mold yet. And this one. And then I made all these resin coasters. And then I made these. Whoops. And then I made these. And then I poured this one in here and this one because I didn't want to waste, throw out the resin. And the thing with the deep pour resins is they take, at least this one takes a long time to set. You can't demold it for 2 days, and I think it takes a full 3 days to cure. So anyway, if you ever want to do a resin mold. So the other thing so these were real cute, and they were only $6.99 for the 2 of them on Amazon. But the thing was that the snowman was real easy, But this little Christmas tree, to get the resin to go uphill into those little points was really hard. And so I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, so my first one, I didn't realize when I demolded it, it hadn't gone up into it. I didn't even pay attention. It just ended up flat around there, so none of it went up into the mold. See how this is the little points that stick down? And it wasn't actually until I did the third one that I thought, geez, I gotta get the resin up into the points. So that one worked, but it was very difficult to do. So I actually, as you saw in the video, I had to kind of open those up and push the resin up into there. So I don't know if there's a better way. If there's a better way, let me know. And on the reviews, Amazon always has a ton of reviews. That was one of the things they complained about, was the Christmas tree. But, it was only $6.99 for the two of them, so it really wasn't bad. But anyway, that's my experience with deep pour molds. It had nothing to do with the resin. The Nick Pro deep pour resin was really great. It was just, I'm just not used to working with molds. But these turned out cute, and my cousin's grandkids are coming over this weekend again, and I'm going to give them the ones that turned out. This little guy turned out kind of cute too, so those three. So I actually ended up changing the gold to silver in a couple of them and putting some rhinestones on them and blinged them up a little bit. I thought they looked real pretty like that. This one too they can take. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is kind of a comedy of errors here. But if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Thanks for watching.